Greetings, Fright Nights and Monster Girls. I'm Count Jackula.
And I'm the Horror Guru.
And we just saw Iron Fist.
That's a Hulk hand.
Well, the show's not Iron Fist either. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I think the sad part is that it's the worst parts of Iron Fist.
It is. I'm just going to fucking straight up say it. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't either. I have liked all the Marvel shows up to this point. I liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I liked Agent Carter, and the Netflix shows Daredevil, Luke Cage, and fucking Jessica Jones are fucking perfection. I didn't want to get past the first episode of this show.
Oh my God.
We sat down and watched this first episode, and I was like, I don't even want to watch the next episode.
Yeah. We watched that pilot and we were just like, oh my God, I'm fucking done. It's so awful. This doesn't even feel like a Marvel Netflix show. This Iron Fist, White Fist, God damn it, feels like a fucking bad 90s superhero movie.
It does.
Like, think of a really shitty one, like Catwoman or Steel.
Catwoman was technically post-90s, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, okay, good point. But like,
Steel is like the epitome of shitty.
It feels like Steel, or like even worse, like one of those low-grade superhero 90s television shows.
Like Dark Angel.
Yeah, like Dark Angel or
even
Mantis.
Then I would say Dark Angel was better than this.
Yeah, I would give you that.
But like,
oh God, like I don't know what to say. Like I didn't want to watch this at all.
You know what kind of reminded me? Remember that Wonder Woman pilot away?
You're right.
For whatever reason, like it reminded me a lot of that.
Oh my God, the one done by the guy who did Ally McBeal.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus Christ, yeah.
I know that from what I've read, the show gets better about 6 episodes in, but I don't know if I want to sit through 6 episodes to get to the better parts.
Well, here's the thing. Everyone says 6 episodes in, it gets better, but then they also say by the end of the season, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So,
my big problem with the show, above all else, is take away all the other surface problems. I just can't stand Danny Rand.
Oh God, no.
Like
I thought going with the Danny Rand as written as white guy who's doing Chinese shit, I thought that was going to be the worst part of the show. Turns out, no, that is not the worst part of the show. The worst part of the show is everything. It's just awful. Danny Rand is super fucking unlikable. You just want to fucking punch him and strangle him the entire time.
The entire time.
Nothing about him he's not even charming about it. You're just like, kid, shut the fuck up. You know, like, I'm tired of, who are you? Why are you in this show? Where's Iron? Okay. Like, there was this period of time, somewhat recently, meaning like probably the last like 10 years, where they redid Iron Fist and made him a complete asshole. That's the Iron Fist that they're doing, but there is nothing likable about him whatsoever. Oh. And the other thing Iron Fist is known for is fucking magical martial arts. Good luck! Because that doesn't happen. That shit doesn't happen. You know, like, The Last Dragon has got more magic martial arts, you know, than fucking Iron Fist. And I was like, yeah, that's right, Hulk. You know, like, I'm mad. I'm fucking mad. Anyway, so, like, oh God, no, just everything's awful. I don't know how many times I can fucking just say that. Like, Danny Rand's unlikable. You don't care about his enemies. You don't know why he's doing anything, and you don't know why you should care about anything happening. You have no fucking clue why you should care. And it takes like, how long does it take for him to get into a fucking fight? Like fucking 30 minutes? To do anything?
He has a brief one with the security guards at the beginning. A brief scuffle, not really a fight. He just kind of eludes them, but he does hit them.
Yeah.
And then he gets into a fight with those thugs way later on.
Yeah. Like the movie, this damn thing starts with like fucking Danny Rand is walking barefoot on the streets of New York. And you're like, why?
because he's coming from the Himalayas.
And you're like, why isn't he could be wearing sandals?
Yeah, he could be wearing sandals.
You know, like, why is he doing this?
He acts and talks like a man-child. Actually, I guess they're all like this, but like that guy in college who just learned of Buddhism.
Yeah.
And is also a hippie and like doesn't believe in shoes, and so just walks around drinking coffee and just spouting stupid like wisdom from like
hippie hipster shithead.
And on top of that, he's also supposed to be rich kid, so he's also kind of bratty. And one of the great tricks that Doctor Strange and Iron Man pulled was that even though they're rich assholes as main characters, you still care about them even when they were assholes, because the charisma of the actors propelled you through it. This actor just makes you want to punch the character of Danny Rand more.
Yeah. Yeah, you just hate him. You just immediately hate him.
And he keeps doing things where you're just like, I thought you went to like this magical land with all these monks and learned all this great wisdom, but you have no idea how creepy you're coming across right now.
Well, yeah, because like
he's like people illiterate.
He creeps on like everybody he meets.
You know, he breaks into their house, he kidnaps one, and you're just sitting there going like, this is our hero, right?
Yeah.
Like Jessica Jones in the first episode, like, tries to save a girl and it ends up going horribly wrong, but she at least tries to save a girl.
Yeah.
You know, like, Daredevil tries to save people, Luke Cage tries to save people, and I'm sure, like, Iron Fist does later on in the show, but the pilot did not give him...
After he does the Spider-Man move from Spider-Man 2 to prove he's got powers.
Oh, yeah.
When he jumps over the car, that like he did in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, where he kind of backs up into traffic.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other part, is that he also acts like way too stupid for someone who spent like 10 years of his life in normal world.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where I find, okay, so you might be wondering, why is Danny Rand back in New York? Well, it's because he wants to run his father's company. And you're like, okay, but if he's been monking out for fucking 15 years, why does he care? You're never going to get an answer. It just happens. This is shit just happens, the show. Like, fucking shit just happens. Because you're like, well, if there was some sort of reason for him to want the company outside of, well, it belonged to my dad, so now it belongs to me.
Which just makes him even more of a brat.
Yeah, it's super dumb.
I think that's the big problem, is that he's, like... Tony Stark was a man-child, yes, and he was an asshole, but he wasn't a fucking brat. Like, this kid is just a brat.
It's because Tony Stark is a mechanical genius.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, all right, well, that's why he's fucking rich, is because he's a mechanical genius. Because he can make a fucking Iron Man suit out of lawnmower parts in a cave in Afghanistan.
And Doctor Strange was a brat, kind of, but at least you have less than 2 hours to get to know Doctor Strange and watch him change.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to watch an entire season of watching Danny Rand become not a brat, because I just can't stand him as is. Yeah.
Like, all right, original Daredevil. What happens? Daredevil appears. He's not in the suit, but he appears. He beats someone up. He saves somebody. You know that there's a criminal organization on the loose, and Matt Murdock's got to do something about it. After he gets his law practice in order. Oh, but the law practice is suffering because he's just gotta fucking go out and save people. Danny Rand, you're just sort of like, why do you want this company so bad other than you just want money?
I think that's the other thing. I think making your A plot right off the bat, him trying to get his company back.
Yeah, and that's the A plot.
Well, like, I'm sure it becomes like I'm sure at some point there's going to be some sort of ninja shit happening. Because they set that up. They set that up. But, like, at the beginning, you're just like, wow, let's get the company back so I can be rich again. Why am I rooting for this guy again?
Yeah, why does he care?
Like, Daredevil, like, both his lawyering and both his and both his superhero wing is to save people. Jessica Jones has a private investigation firm of her own that she basically helps people, but for pay.
Yeah. Luke Cage ain't the way he was before.
Luke Cage is trying to avoid jail and not get involved, but he keeps getting pulled in.
Yeah.
You know, and he's got people like showing up where it's just like, you got a gift, you got to do stuff like the old man.
Yeah, it pops.
You know, so you know where he's going. I'm sitting there going like, where the fuck is this guy going? Okay, he's going to get his company back. I don't fucking care about his company. I just...
Yeah.
You know, I wanted like I wanted him to save someone like at the first episode, but instead, what happens in the first episode? He breaks into his former best friend's house, kidnaps his other former best friend, and threatens him.
Yeah.
And is just an all-around creepy asshole to everyone he fucking meets, and fucking arrogant, too, with all that fucking, like, Buddha wisdom shit he does.
Yeah, well, it's really weird. Like, it reminded me a lot of... I look at it and I'm like, of all the Kung Fu things that we could be basing this around, we're gonna base it off of Kung Fu. The legend continues!
And that's...
You're fucking kidding me.
And that's the other thing that annoyed me. Like, when I watched the first episode of Jessica Jones, I'm like, oh, I get it. This is like a superhero horror story. You know? It's a rape revenge story, but told through Jessica Jones.
Yeah, it's like I spit on your grave, but with superpowers.
Exactly.
You know?
And like they showed like the Purple Man as if he's like Freddy Krueger in that first episode.
Yeah,
where he's like haunting her dreams and shit. All right, I get it. I get what Jessica Jones is going for. All right, Luke Cage happens. You watch the first episode of Luke Cage and you go, oh man. Oh, they're going like the Hughes brothers with some of this stuff. It's like Hughes brothers meets Spike Lee with a little bit of blaxploitation thrown in.
Yeah, totally. Which is why somebody got to keep saying the hero's name.
Exactly.
It's like, Luke Cage, you gotta, you know, because they would always do that. You know, always be like, come on, John Shaft, you can't turn your back on the community.
But even
turn its back on me a long time ago.
But even then, like the visuals of the show are like pushing you in this direction.
Oh yeah,
Same
totally.
with Jessica Jones. And Daredevil is going full on Frank Miller with some of those visuals. You know, like so there's like shots in that first episode.
Yeah, it's full on like, you know, like film noir, what would eventually become Sin City.
The visual like aesthetic of Iron Fist as I watched it is shitty 90s show.
Yep.
That's all I got from it. I didn't get like, wait, why aren't we like evoking Kung Fu movies? Like, why aren't we like doing the Kill Bill thing and like evoking Kung Fu movies?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Kill Bill would have been a great way to go.
Like, that would make a lot of sense. Like, why aren't we like doing those fucking like quick, like fucking like whip pans and like zoom ins and shit like that? Like, like key moments. Why aren't we doing that?
Why not do like a Shaw Brothers movie?
Like, Luke Cage was willing to fucking homage Spike Lee. Like, fucking, like, Daredevil was willing to.
It was willing to fucking homage things like fucking like Shaft and fucking Cotton Comes to Harlem.
Yes, it was willing to homage that. I didn't see any of that in this first episode of Iron Fist for what it is taking from.
Yeah.
Except for just generic looking show. And like, goddamn, the reason I got into these Netflix shows is because they were like watching these really long movies that are really beautifully shot and beautifully acted and beautifully written. And this is not beautifully shot and it's not beautifully acted and it's not beautifully written. So why do I care?
Everything is fucking wrong. You know what? With that, just go into some spoilers. All right, so we're doing the spoilers for people who are like, hey, does the show get better? The answer was yes, and then it fucking bottoms out. Here's some things we know that happen. Because no, I didn't make it all the way through because there's just a point at which you're like, I have better things to do with my life than fucking watch this damn thing, even for internet entertainment. This show is boring as fuck. It is so goddamn fucking boring, and that's one of the reasons you hate everybody.
I started to fall asleep in the first episode.
Yeah.
Like
Totally.
I'm like, oh my God, Danny, I get that you're Danny Rand. I get that you're your father's son. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Totally. So, Madame Gao is now a member of the Hand, which I'm like, that makes no fucking sense. Like, all the beautiful, like, you know, snarky, you know, Chinese gangster versus Japanese gangster shit that happens in Daredevil. Oh no, they're just working with each other the whole time. What are you fucking talking about?
That's a really weird choice.
Yeah, the Hand has always been a Japanese organization. It was in the fucking comics. It was when they brought them up in that fucking in the X-Men cartoon because Wolverine sometimes fought them.
That's right, yeah.
You know, and they've just always been ninja guys. You know, that's what they do. It's just sort of like, all right, go in, assassinate someone, do a magic ritual, raise an evil demon, fucking try to kill Iron Man, try to kill Daredevil, you know, get Elektra for good measure, you know, like, we're the Hand, fuck you. Oh, it's this guy named Logan, fuck that guy. You know, we hate him, throw all the ninjas at him. And there's not much... That's pretty much it. That's what the Hand is.
That overall seems to be a weird problem with Iron Fist specifically, because it wasn't a problem with the other 3 shows. The other 3 shows knew the differences between the ethnicities it was dealing with.
They did.
Whereas in this show, all of a sudden, it's like, wait, you do realize that Japanese and Chinese people are 2 different groups, right?
Right. No,
I understand
they don't know that.
I understand that you have one character who's supposed to be half. Okay, fair enough. She's half Japanese, half Chinese, so it makes sense. But the Chinese are still different.
Yeah.
Than the Japanese. Like, God.
Yeah, so all the setup of the evil organization that Iron Fist is actually supposed to run into, that has the crane and all that jazz. Oh, it's just the Hand.
I don't like that.
It's fucking stupid.
That's just really fucking lame.
You set up the evil kung fu organization.
Yeah.
The Iron Fist always fights, and we're just like, oh, we'll just make it the Hand. Fuck you. Like, fuck you. They fucking ruined the setup in Daredevil. They fucking ruined it. It's gone. It's dead. You know, and I'm just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I can't believe you fucking did that. You know, you fucking, that show handed you fucking gold. You know, like, all you had to do was not
and the way
fuck
it
up.
handled the Hand was beautiful.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like the Hand in season 2 were great.
Yo, what is the Hand up to? Well, one of the things that the Hand wants is the destruction of Kwanlun. I can never pronounce. There are a million different pronunciations for that, so like, don't get on my fucking case. Which is, so Kwanlun is like is you know, a place that houses the monastery where the Iron Fist is trained, and the Iron Fist is a title. It's like, yeah, I'm the big badass. I hold the title of Guardian. Iron Fist. Yeah. He's the guardian of Kwanlun. Which I was like, okay, that's a little bit different than what we've done with Kwanlun in the past. I.e., Kwanlun used to be is usually a physical location that exists on planet Earth. It's essentially their fictional all-purpose island that is basically China.
Yeah.
You know, anything Asian happens that we want to not happen in the real world, you put it on Kwanlun. You know, but here it's like, somewhere out in the ether in another dimension. And I'm like, okay, I could live with that. But, yeah, we don't spend a lot of time there. We spend some time at the monastery. Danny Rand fights a dragon off screen.
Yeah,
we
apparently
never
part of his
see it.
backstory is he fights a dragon.
Yeah. Well, that's how the Iron Fist is determined.
But it happens off screen, which I'm just like, really?
Yeah. The most badass moment of
I get
this
that
character's origin story we never see.
I get that you're not Game of Thrones, you don't have the budget for it, but could you have at least fudged a way to have him fight something? Like, it's just...
Yeah. Just have, like, the dragon come down, turn to a dude, fight.
Like, I'm not going to be excited for this Iron Fist show if you have to take everything magical and put it off screen.
Yeah, which pretty much they do.
You know, at that point, I might as well just watch the other 3 shows because they don't deal with magic as much.
Well, the thing is that, okay, so he falls in love with this chick, this martial arts chick. Oh, turns out she's also a member of the Hand. She's
I contend, having watching this pilot episode, that I want them to scrap Danny entirely.
Yes.
Just have Danny die in the Defenders, kill Danny, and just give that martial arts chick the title of Iron Fist.
Yeah, and I'll just so we can start over. You know, we need a mulligan.
Because I have a feeling I would like her way better than Danny.
Yeah, well, I also like the idea of just cutting out all of the Iron Fist show entirely and then just bringing in Moon Knight like nothing happened.
I would totally just watch Moon Knight.
Be up for that.
I'd watch the shit out of Moonlight. Fuck, I'd even watch the shit if it's because I know they're going to do a Punisher show if they just did that and had that replace Iron Fist.
Yeah. Well, like there's one thing that happens that is kind of cool, but it's all because of the actress, and that is this in Iron Fist. Claire officially becomes night nurse.
Which is good.
But
Happy about
the
that.
problem is it's in Iron Fist. So you're like, Rosario Dawson is cool. And you don't expect Rosario Dawson to be like a great martial artist, so whatever. So her not being able to fight real well, makes a little certain amount of sense. The problem is, it doesn't make any of those scenes any fucking better. Like the fight scenes are just pathetic. They're just so fucking pathetic, especially compared to the shit they were doing in Daredevil.
A lot of the fight scenes in this feel way over edited for being a martial arts show.
Yeah.
Because Daredevil did the straight up raid thing where it did a lot of fights that are done in like single shots. Not all of them are, but some of them are. And you can tell that whoever's doing the Daredevil fights, whether it's the actor or the stunt person, they train to do it and are doing it well. You watch this and it feels like they're trying to hide the fact that their actor's not a great fighter.
Yeah.
It's like watching one of the Bourne movies sometimes.
It is edited like the Jason Bourne movies.
It's just without like the shaky handheld stuff. So it's a little easier to follow than the Bourne movies, but you're still sitting there going like, the reason why we do this in American movies is because our American actors aren't very good fighters. So you can't do the long fluid shots like you can with a Jackie Chan movie of the guy just kicking ass. But could you at least put a fucking stunt coordinator, like put a fucking Asian guy in a fucking blonde wig and had him be Danny Rand when he's fighting?
Racial profiles.
Just fucking,
I thought Danny. You should have just had Danny be like Asian American from the get go.
Well, he probably should have been.
Yeah, and then totally just rewritten the character.
The funny part is that even if you wanted to keep like, oh, he's from this rich family, you could have still had like fucking.
Yeah, you still could have done that.
Asian kid who was like, maybe he was exiled by his dad because his dad didn't like that he was Asian or something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, something.
And he comes back to try to reclaim his fucking heritage.
Well, the thing is that once you get to the end of the show, you find yourself going, why wasn't this the thing that set everything else in motion if we were just going to get here? Which is Iron Fist goes back to Kwanloon, temple is destroyed. And that's the end of Iron Fist.
Well, that's the end of
the fucking show. And why wasn't that the beginning? Because now all of a sudden you do that. You could do that thing where it's like, I failed as Iron Fist, the fucking temple's destroyed. Wait.
No, that would have been brilliant.
I heard that the Hand who did this, they're in fucking Manhattan. All right. So he goes to Manhattan and is like, yo, I need resources, so I'm gonna I have an inheritance. I'm gonna reclaim my inheritance so I can get the resources to fight the Hand because they destroyed the fucking temple. Meanwhile, I go on this other Iron Fist adventure and basically make it essentially a tale of vengeance.
Well, then you could have opened it up like a martial arts movie where you have like the young person who's training to be this thing, and like, oh, you're gonna be the Iron Fist. You have to do all these trainings, but first you must go off to this mountain and fight this dragon. He goes off to fight the dragon. He's like he's the young guy who's trying to learn all this stuff. He goes off and fights the dragon, and he wins. But when he comes back, the temple's gone.
Yeah, temple's gone.
And all that.
And the old master goes like, the Iron Fist now. You must avenge us,
and maybe you could have had like shurikens in people's necks or something like that. So the hand came.
Yeah. With like just a symbol with the fucking like symbol on it, and you're like, whoa, and
you could have done that, and there would have been like the martial arts movie, I Must Avenge My Master. But like, what can I do? How do I fight this organization all by myself? Well, I used to have this company.
I used to have this company. I do it. Well, I also had.
Oh my god, I would have been so invested.
That would have been. Yeah, that would have been a way better show. I would have been so
invested then, and it would have been a martial arts story.
Yeah, exactly. This thing does everything it can not to be a martial arts story, and you're like, that's a terrible idea. It's a martial arts story.
That's a martial arts staple. Fucking master gets defeated by an old enemy, and now the young trainee must defeat the master to reclaim his master's honor again.
Yeah, exactly. I also had one of the things I also would have done was I also would have had a small group of surviving Kwanloon monks, all of whom were like these kind of weirdos.
Well, you do kind of feel like he needed like it would have been nice to have him have like at least like if he had like two monks that are kind of like comic relief.
His boys. Yeah.
That were kind of like following him around and are kind of like quirky and funny, and like they're the ones who don't quite understand the American stuff. Like,
whereas Danny kind of gets it, although he doesn't remember everything.
Because he's the guy from Two Worlds, right?
Yeah.
So like he's the one who's like, oh no, don't touch that. That's a wall socket or something.
Yeah.
Monks have no idea what they're doing, but he's like training them. But they're not dumb. They know how to fight. They know how to handle.
Yeah, they know how to
themselves.
handle themselves. They just aren't all there.
The funny thing is I feel like what we're doing now is we're basically creating what Doctor Strange did well. Like,
yeah. Well, I also wanted to continue the whole thing, the whole tradition of monks who actually understand high technology, even if they don't understand modern society.
Yeah.
Because I also thought the thing that would have been good to do was to make it humorous. Iron Fist is fantastically humorless. It's so fucking dour.
And its attempts at humor don't hit at all.
No, they don't. It's not funny at all.
Like Danny Rand, there's moments where you're like, oh, I think he's supposed to be funny and charming here, but I just kind of want to punch him.
Yeah.
It's not working.
But I wanted to have the thing where, it actually, there are a couple things Danny Rand has when he gets back to America. He should probably at least have sandals. He's got some basic clothes. He looks a little weird. He's got his Iron Fist mask, because he won it. And he's got like a smartphone because I like the idea in Doctor Strange where like, Shambhala. What's that? It's the Wi-Fi password. They
probably should have kept that.
Yeah, they probably should have kept something like that.
Yeah.
And so
I know it's a different group of monks, but still.
Yeah, but like, come on, these guys can be clued in. And I like the idea of Danny constantly talking to these mysterious dudes, through like Snapchat or whatever. And it turns out, they're other monks with superpowers. They're just not as badass as Iron Fist. Because I had the image of a guy that I was referring to in my own head as Cell Phone Monk, who was the dude who's always fighting guys, but his quirk is he can't stop taking selfies of him beating the shit out of dudes while he's doing it. And that's the gimmick with his whole fucking fighting, is trying to fucking take selfies while he's fucking punching guys. Because I felt like Iron Fist actually, even though I felt like it should have been a tale of vengeance, it should have been funny. There should have been a lot of humor because that's how martial arts movies are.
Yeah, there's a lot of humor in them. Especially if you're going like to the Jackie Chan style.
Yeah. But even like
Jet Li movies, there's a lot of humor, the Chinese ones.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It should feel that way. And at some point I was like, Danny Rand's got to fight in a pagoda. Like it's something because you want to recreate a little bit of that Enter the Dragon, right? Mm-hmm. Because why wouldn't you? But yeah, no, they don't do any of that shit. They do none of that. And it's just a piece of fucking shit show that you wouldn't pay for. And I wouldn't even pay it with my time.
Yeah, it's too bad because I love the Netflix show so far. I'm going to watch The Defenders because it's not by these people.
Yeah, this is the one Marvel Netflix show that is just categorically awful. It's the first Marvel Cinematic Universe anything that is just categorically awful.
You have no redeeming value.
You have no redeeming value whatsoever, Iron Fist.
With the exception being maybe what you do with Claire. That's
maybe. But we could have done that in a better show.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you should have done that with in either Daredevil or Luke Cage.
Yeah. Man. All those beautiful things that the other shows had, like those kind of iconic moments, like fucking Daredevil, like the hallway sequence that was very obviously inspired by Old Boy. The elevator sequence in the second season. That image of Luke Cage with the hoodie on getting shot. He's like, like, damn, that looks so fucking cool.
Absolutely.
Iron Fist got none of that. It's got none of that. It feels like television. It feels like bad television.
It's the first one that just flat out feels like television.
Yeah.
In like the worst ways. You're just like, it's not even like good normal TV, like the Flash cartoon or something, or the Flash show or something.
Yeah. Well, they do that thing. They're horribly guilty of doing the thing that the Flash show does, which is his weak point, which constantly reiterating the plot points.
Oh, yeah. It does that just like those shows, except it doesn't have any of the charm.
Yeah, it has none of the charm, and there's no reason for it.
I didn't like Arrow, but I got through more of season 1 of Arrow. In fact, I got through the entirety of season 1 of Arrow, but I did not want to watch season 1 of this. And there are more episodes in season 1 of Arrow.
Yeah. Yeah. But, but the problem is, it's like, dude, you only have to fill like 12 episodes. Do you have so little story that we have to fill extra time with just reiterating the plot point? Like,
How many
what?
times did I need to be reminded that Danny Rand's parents are dead and that they died in a plane crash? Either visually showing us a million times with his flashbacks, or having someone bring it up, or having people argue about it, or having people argue about, well, how could he be his son? They're dead. And you're like, I get it. I get it. I fucking get it. Move on.
Yeah, that whole first episode is basically, hi, I'm Danny Rand. You can't be Danny Rand. He says he's Danny Rand, but he can't be Danny Rand. I don't think he's Danny Rand. He's got to be an impersonator because Danny Rand is dead. But I'm Danny Rand. You're not Danny Rand. You're an impersonator because Danny Rand is dead. His parents died in a plane crash. You remember when his parents died in a plane crash? I remember when his parents died in a plane crash. You know whose parents died in a plane crash? Danny Rand. And he's like, Jesus fucking Christ.
And I'm just sitting there going like, oh my fucking God, this is your first fucking episode. You show me Danny Rand can do these martial arts tricks and stuff like that. But when am I going to see him just fucking save someone? I don't want to see that in the second episode. I want to see that in the first one. I want to see him walking into New York. He sees some guy mugging some old lady and he fucking beats the shit out of him and hands her fucking purse bag. Like, it's like, I want to see that. Like, Daredevil saves someone in the first episode. Jessica Jones tries to save someone in the first episode, but that's part of her tragic tale.
Yeah.
I can't remember if Luke Cage saved someone in the first episode, but you definitely already knew who Luke Cage was by that point.
Yeah, and the thing is that there have been some people who are like, yeah, but Iron Fist actually is kind of an asshole. And my answer to that is change it. Fucking change it. We changed Luke Cage, and it worked.
Yeah. Luke Cage in the comics is not the strong silent type. He's usually some cross between, like, Black Dynamite and fucking
Mr. T.
Mr. T.
Yeah.
But in the show, they made him the strong silent type, and it worked. But it's a different character.
Totally different character.
Matt Murdock is pretty much Matt Murdock.
Yeah, they nailed him.
Pretty much nailed
him. Like,
Jessica Jones is pretty much Jessica Jones, actually.
Jessica Jones is a much easier character to just kind of slot in and do stuff with.
Whereas Iron Fist, you kind of nailed all the parts of Iron Fist I don't like.
Yeah.
In, like, the worst ways possible.
Yep. It's pretty bad. So, in summation, Iron Fist. It's the Iron Finger.